back to the wings of war. Somewhere in France, these fighters fly in formation on patrol. French-built planes, they're known as Mirage, and have proved very effective. They're not so fast as the Nazi Messerschmitt, they're more nimble, and their finer maneuverability has produced several striking victories in recent aerial combats over Germany. Meanwhile, RAF fighters have won all their recent combats, and the Spitfire's superiority over the German bomber generally results in a swift sky battle like this. The Spitfire claims another victim. The German bomber has been forced to land, its crew of 4 being made prisoner, 2 of them being wounded. Later, the big machine is carted away by French soldiers with, I should imagine, a strong feeling of triumph as they drive off with the trophy of one of the latest dogfights over the Western Front. But the most spectacular defeat suffered by the Nazi Air Force was the routing of 27 of their fighters. Actually, they were Messerschmitts by a third of that number of French planes. The Curtiss fighters, they'll soon be coming from America in their thousands, gave the Germans the surprise of their lives during the violent battle that took place. Plane after plane was shot down, and the Frenchmen continued to attack with great dash. At least one German pilot escaped by parachute, while his blazing machine went hurtling down to earth. The pilot landed safely and was captured. As for his Messerschmitt, this is all that was left of it. 9 Germans were brought down altogether, the other 18 fled. The Allied air forces on the Western Front continue to pile up German victims. A Dornier bomber lies here. Its shattered wreckage bears witness to the attentions of a British Hurricane fighter, which swooped down from 24,000 feet and gave it all of 800 bullets. In this peaceful French field behind the Maginot Line, the German crews scrambled out and set fire to their machines, then waited for the gendarmes to arrive and arrest them. These are oxygen cylinders and not bombs. Here lies the body of a Messerschmitt shot down by the RAF in a day of great Allied air successes. British fighters brought down 7 enemy machines without loss to themselves, while the French claimed 5 victims. French poilus take a gratified interest in souvenirs of the occasion. More evidence of our air superiority, this Dornier machine, forced down and captured intact, is one of 17 German planes brought down by the Allies in one day. She landed in the field of that famous French mud, which was lucky for the pilot as he was unable to lower the undercarriage before she hit the ground. The 2 victorious RAF pilots are amongst those who watched the work of dismantling. Some idea of their good shooting is given by the bullet-ridden fuselage. Germany has long been famous for her cameras, so we're delighted to be presented with this one. It's a rare event in warfare to capture an enemy plane with machinery and instruments undamaged. All the same, Adolf, you can write it off. Some of the RAF airmen who took part in the recent engagement over Heligoland Bight are here seen at their base. It was only a short while ago that they were taking off in their big Wellington bombers at the start of their daring raid. Since then, we've all read the story of the war's biggest air battle, in which every available Nazi plane was engaged, yet at least 12 Messerschmitts were shot down against our loss of 7 bombers. The skill and the fighting spirit of the Royal Air Force is second to none in the world. As you see, there's a definite thumbs up after Heligoland.
After a perfect one-engine landing, the uninjured crew of a Hudson reconnaissance machine are keen to look at the damage caused by Nazi bullets. Oil from the port engine, which was put out of action after a North Sea scrap with 2 Dornier raiders, covers the wheel, and there are about a score of bullet holes elsewhere. The Nazi planes fled, one of them so badly damaged that it could not have got home. The British plane was more than a match for the 2 of them, but it needs a little attention now. An RAF squadron in France received a telegram of congratulations from the C&C. Good sport indeed, for between them, these men, plus one who was still in the air when these pictures were taken, bagged 5 Nazi planes, definitely shot down in planes, and 2 probably destroyed all in one day. This flying officer shot down 2 of them. And so did the New Zealander, known as Cobber. He was himself shot up, landed by parachute, safe except for bits of shrapnel in his foot and hand. Cobber has already accounted for 5 or 6 enemy aircraft.
Meanwhile, the Royal Air Force has been provided with real targets for bombing practice round about the Norwegian coasts. These are men of the formation that paid a little visit to Bergen, where they were happy to find several Nazi warships in port. And this is the crew of the bomber that scored a direct hit on a cruiser, believed to be the Königsberg, and sank her. It was their second operational flight, the first being their raid on Sylt.
Well, hello. Are you glad to get back? Glad, and mighty glad to have had a crack at the German fleet.
It is the fighting in the air over France and Belgium that is proving so vital a factor in this war. Movietone is able to show the first film of one of the innumerable encounters taking place, our cameraman having shot it actually during a Nazi raid. Amazing stories of the heroism of the Royal Air Force have been told. Hour after hour they fight enemy bombers and fighters, often against great numerical odds. But the RAF shoot the Nazis down, like this. Heinkel bomber or the latest Messerschmitt, they're all one to our Spitfires and Hurricanes. There goes another Nazi. On the day of these dogfights you've been watching, 50 enemy machines were destroyed, and the fields of France and Belgium are littered with the wreckage of Nazi planes. Through the great courage and the superior skill of our pilots, the Allies hold on against Germany's enormous forces in the air. More and more planes, that is the urgent call. Answer it now, and the Royal Air Force will be supreme. The exploits of British fighters have been a thoroughly heartening tonic through these weeks of anxiety. In particular, the name Hurricane has become one to raise the spirits. These are the machines which have caused such havoc in the ranks of Goering's Air Force. Their superiority over the German planes is so pronounced that pilots willingly take on 3 times their number and still get their men. Sometimes a rash enemy comes scouting round the Hurricane's airfield. Then watch out for fireworks. A wretched Messerschmitt 110 is out for trouble, and those Hurricanes are after him like lightning, streaking across the sky in a chase which ends with the Nazi crashing to earth. My mistake. Apparently there were 2 victims. This particular squadron is famous as being composed of weekend flyers, men who learnt their flying during the weekends of peacetime. They are men matched to the machine, pilots worthy of their Hurricanes. When the history of these is written, the exploits of these gallant fighters will rank high in its pages. Here are some cases where the camera was present and actually in the fighter plane. This is sensational stuff taken by pilots in action. Imagine yourself sitting on the tail of this Heinkel, giving him all you've got. Smoke streaming from him, he's in a bad way, but you won't see him crack up because the camera gun, being geared to the machine gun, stops as the Heinkel falls out of sight. Now you're chasing another Heinkel, and this time the camera too gets the victim. A Messerschmitt 110. A Dornier 17. The Royal Air Force takes these films to record how various enemy types stand up to the fire of our fighters. Apparently they don't. Watch this Junkers 87.